Guys, I just released another comic in the store, Cartoon Cat vs. Siren. It's a story set in a land destroyed by these bizarre creatures and shows the battle between these two titans. Who will be the winner of this battle is the big question we all want to know. And if you don't know, there's a story about Leo and Grandma on an adventure against the forces of evil. Kids from the neighborhood are mysteriously disappearing. What could be happening? Will Leo and Grandma be able to solve this mystery? We have other comics too. Add the store's WhatsApp number and we'll be here to help you. It was around 3 in the morning. Knock, knock, knock. I woke up to someone at the door. Knock, 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 knock. A louder knock made me get out of bed and go see what it was. I heard a whisper saying, "Let me in." It was a familiar voice of someone I hear from time to time. Let me in. Knock, 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 knock. I just want to talk to you. Ah, it's my neighbor. But why at this time of night? 3 in the morning, man. It's not that important. If it were serious, I'd call the police or an ambulance. I sent him a message telling him to go back to bed because I was dying of sleep, and I managed to fall back asleep. The next day, on my way to my car, I saw my neighbor and he asked me what that strange message in the middle of the night was about. I was confused and told him I sent it because he was knocking on my door at 3 in the morning. And now I was getting a really confused look. He said it wasn't him and was puzzled by that strange message. I must have dreamed it or something because the voice was his, I'm sure of that. Laughing, I explained, feeling a bit embarrassed about what happened. And we went our separate ways to work. The day went by and soon I went to sleep. When I heard knock, 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 the sound was loud. Loud enough to echo through my house and wake me up on the 2nd floor. I waited and pinched myself to make sure I was awake. Please let me in. My neighbor's voice called out, followed by 3 forceful knocks that shook my door. Hurry up! You have to let me in. I went down the stairs with my phone in my hand to use the light. If it wasn't my neighbor, but someone who sounded like him, I wanted to be able to call the police. Knock, 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 knock. It was much louder, going right into my ear. I reached the door. I know you're in there. I must enter. I took a look to see who the guy was that was making so much noise and keeping me from sleeping for the 2nd time. What I was seeing looked like a prank. What the hell is this? Rows and rows of gigantic teeth with disgusting drool dripping down. Someone who was neither human nor animal. I looked through the peephole again and saw that disgusting tongue sliding across the door. I watched as he backed away. What kind of bizarre creature is that? It was about 5 feet tall with no skin, eyes, or ears. But it had 3 large random arms coming out from the center. Each one ended with long fingers that kept opening and closing frantically. I know you're in there. The doorknob was moving. It banged on the door several times, making me fall back in fear. I called my neighbor and he answered. Antonio? What's going on? Why are you calling me at this hour, man? The noise didn't come from the door. The creature moved away and I went back upstairs, locking myself in the closet, scared. There's something at my door. Please take a look. Are you sleepwalking? No, man, I'm serious. Take a look out your window. Just don't make any noise. Okay, man. I'll get up and take a look here. Antonio? Yes, are you drunk? No, why? Because I heard you banging on the door outside like a madman. Let's talk about this now, man. Face to face. You're high, aren't you? Don't open the door, man. I shouted on the phone, hearing my neighbor opening the door. What do you mean, don't open the door when you're at my door? I heard the sound of a scream and the phone falling to the floor. The phone was still on. The door closed and what I heard was... Imagine you're in your school's library looking for a book and you end up finding something different. That shouldn't be among the books. A mysterious mask, and when you put it on your face, something strange happens. Something that seemed impossible becomes real. Hermenegildo was a 15-year-old teenager who suffered a lot at his school. He was constantly teased by the students. That's because in people's eyes he was ugly, making comparisons that made him sadder and sadder. He started blaming God for making him that way, since no one would come near him to have a nice conversation or interact in a friendly way. Tired of this, he searched the internet for how to get plastic surgery to improve his appearance, but he found out it would be impossible since the cost was unreal.
Wrapped in anger at himself,
He tried with his own hands to fix what, in his mind, God had done wrong. His desperate act ended up sending him to the hospital, where he had to undergo emergency surgery. His action cost him dearly because his face got worse, and now Hermenegildo was being mocked more than ever. His routine was cruel, and he ended up ignoring everything people said about him and hid in the library. He spent most of his time in there reading until one day he found something different. A white mask with 2 holes for the eyes. While he was taking a look at it, he heard a voice. "Hello, I'm White Mask. Use me and you can be whoever you want or however you want. Think of the face, say I accept out loud and put me on." Hermenegildo didn't think twice and did it. Magically, he felt something different on his face. He grabbed his phone to look and was shocked. He was as handsome as he had imagined. It didn't look like he was wearing a mask. It was as if he had been born again. Everyone at school saw him and was shocked because Hermenegildo looked amazing, like a heartthrob. The teasing stopped and he was surrounded by girls wanting to enjoy his good looks. He felt blessed for having found that mask and credited it to God as well, thinking it was a correction of the mistake made by the Creator. What he didn't know was that the white mask was an ancient mystical artifact. Its purpose is to seek out unstable people with an opening to seal its pact. The pact consisted of, as soon as the person agreed to wear it, white mask could inhabit and take control of that person. Little by little, it would drain the host's energy, being able to feed for up to 2 months until it exhausted all the host's resources and the person died. So my friends, if you see a mask somewhere out there, be careful because it could be white mask looking for its new host, alright? There was a coin collector who passed away in his house. He lived alone and had a gigantic coin collection. His children then decided to put the house up for sale. They tried to find his valuable coin collection. However, it seemed to have disappeared from the place. The house only had the red sofa where the collector used to take his naps.
nothing else.
Uncomfortable with the situation, the family decided to sell the house and leave the sofa for the future buyers of the property. It was sold and the new family moved into the house, which only had a red sofa. The children jumped on it with excitement, but one of them, Gerald, turned pale. He heard something but couldn't tell what it was, only that it came from the sofa. The parents didn't notice anything as they were busy unpacking the move and getting ready to spend the first night in their new home. The three siblings went up to the second floor to check their room. Gerald looked back and kept watching the couch, afraid. Night fell and the parents were sleeping, exhausted. Meanwhile, the children were sitting on the bed, covered up and talking. Before Gerald could start discussing the matter with his siblings, a sound of coins came from downstairs. His sister went to the piggy bank thinking the sound had come from there, but it hadn't. So she slowly went down the stairs, heading toward the couch. The upholstery was moving. She asked who it was, but got no answer. She started throwing coins onto the couch. An arm came out from under the upholstery and picked them up one by one. She could hear a chewing sound and the creaking of metal. The girl realized then that the thing liked coins. The chewing stopped and the creature appeared between the cushions. It looked into the girl's eyes with a big grin from ear to ear, and it said, "Coins?" Since then, every night the girl would throw coins on the couch to feed the creature, not missing a single day. Her parents asked her why she was always awake at night. She never answered, she just looked at them. The parents asked her siblings. Gerald, scared, said that she doesn't listen anymore. Narpal only likes to talk to people who can't hear, and that from one day to the next, she can't hear anything anymore. Surprised by what their son said, the parents ran downstairs. She was sitting on the couch, looking straight at them with a grin from ear to ear. Coins. "Did you bring coins for Narpal? Don't you want to see what happens when someone doesn't bring anything for Narpal?" Suddenly, arms sprout from under the couch, grabbing the family by the head, pulling them inside. The girl sits there with a smile on her face, just like Narpal, and all she says is, "Coins." One day, a man of about 35 years old was leaving a bar. And as he walked to the corner, he was a bit drunk and his coordination was off. That's when he got close to a manhole that was on the sidewalk. And then something happened. The manhole opened and the man fell inside. And that wasn't all. Reports of people disappearing at that same corner were being told by homeless people. Those who slept there noticed a pattern happening. It always repeated, a person was walking as they approached the manhole. The lid would open, flames would come out, and the person would be pulled in. Then the lid would close again. The police were called to the scene. And they listened to the homeless people, but they didn't believe them, so they went to look for evidence about the disappearances. On that street, a recording was obtained from one of the establishments, and it showed what was happening. And it matched everything that had been reported to them. An investigation was started. And the main theory was that there was some kind of gas buildup in the sewage system, and that's why the explosion happened. Blowing the manhole cover off and making people fall in there, but it would be quite a coincidence for this to happen right when someone is passing by the spot, and always at the same times. At 3 o'clock, 3:59 in the morning, you know. They opened the manhole to try to find survivors or possible bodies, but nothing substantial was found. Only traces of ash were identified on the sewer walls, and it remains a mystery why this manhole opens and people fall in there. The locals who frequented the area named the manhole Luce's Hole.
Luce being a nickname for something bad, right?
Where the devil opens the manhole, flames come out and it soaks in the unlucky person passing by, right? Taking him straight to hell.
Imagine you're going to sleep after a tiring and stressful day. And when you're going to your bed, something unexpected happens. Something that could end your life. This story happened in Piauí, in the northeast of Brazil. An 18-year-old young man named Wilson had just arrived from his new job, and that day was hotter than usual. After taking a refreshing shower, he went to his room to take a nap. He notices something different. There's a brand new ceiling fan installed. He thought it was a gift from his parents and was very happy about it. Since everyone was sleeping, he didn't want to wake them up to thank them. His goal was to buy a fan with his first paycheck, because the old one had broken down and he was having a hard time sleeping because of the heat. He turned it on to test it out, and man, my brother, the temperature in there was just perfect. Inside that room, he got emotional, man, with the gift and walked over to his bed. That's when the fan came down and caught him. His parents heard the scream. They went to young Wilson's room.
They found him lying on the floor. The young man's parents were shocked by the scene, and
they thought that
someone had broken into their house and done this. There were no signs of a struggle. Young Wilson's arm was missing along with the fan. When the young man woke up in the hospital, he said the fan fell on him and cut him. His parents asked, "What fan, son?"
What did you give me?
The ceiling fan. My son, we didn't give you any fan. More cases started appearing in cities with hot climates. Always people having their limbs cut off by a ceiling fan, and no sign of the one causing these attacks. And a theory started to emerge that this fan was nothing more than a creature that fed on human limbs. And to do that, it took the form of a ceiling fan, making it easier to feed. So my friend, you who live in hot cities, if a fan suddenly appears in your room, make sure it's not
Wine killer.
because this creature is just waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Imagine you're walking through a park and you see a different kind of swing. When you go to use it, you end up coming across something that will change your life. A preteen was heading home at around 11:33 at night when, passing by a park in his neighborhood, he saw that someone had put a really cool swing on the tallest tree there. He had promised his parents he would get home before midnight and thought, they put a really awesome swing there, man. I'm going to have some fun there. There's still time. That's when he got closer and could see the swing. This swing was different. It was made of a material similar to rubber. Unlike the ones with rope and a wooden seat, that's when he sat down and started to swing. He could pick up more speed with less effort.
That toy was really good, wasn't it?
And he tried to go faster than he could. Damn, man, what an awesome toy. Ha 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 ha, dude. I'm going to do a 360 here. But he didn't realize that all of this was nothing but a trap set by the creature known as Swing Collector. The swing is nothing more than a part of its body designed to attract people, and once you fall in, you can't get out anymore.
He tries to escape, but he's trapped by a sticky substance, unable to do anything else.
The swing starts being pulled into the tree, which then opens a hole in its trunk and envelops the person. Swing Collector is a creature that feeds on children, teenagers, and even adults who use the swing. It usually settles in parks to feed easily, always acting after the sun goes down, because it is a shadowy creature and light causes its death. It is believed that Swing Collector is a tree from the underworld and that it feeds on bodily fluids and other organisms. But for some reason, it came to our world to collect food. When we're at school, we see fights happening all the time for all sorts of reasons. From a slap received in the cafeteria line to gum stuck on a friend's chair. Anything can be the spark for a fight that can last the whole school year or even several years after. But what many people don't know is that these pointless fights may have been orchestrated by someone who enjoys seeing discord happen. An elementary school teacher was puzzled about why the students were fighting every day. The class would start, they would stay quiet and pay attention to her lesson. But when she turned to write on the board, someone would start a fight. She had to stop the class to find out what was causing the fight.
What's going on here?
Teacher, he spat on the back of my neck while I was writing down the homework. I didn't do that. I was also writing down the stuff from the board, teacher. Of course it was you. You're the only one sitting behind me. Both of you, go to the principal's office now. She couldn't take it anymore. There was always a problem, my man. Right after that happened, Orginho, a student who never got into trouble, came up to her and said the following. Teacher, I know who's doing this. Doing what, son? Who's causing all this trouble in your class? In every class, I see a creature coming out of the ceiling or the walls and causing some kind of trouble, making the students fight with each other. I know this because I'm sensitive and I see everything. That's why the creature doesn't mess with me either. What happened just now was that the creature spat on the boy's neck and because he was sitting in the last row, he was accused of being the culprit. The teacher didn't believe anything he said and went back to teaching her class. More trouble kept happening, and she always thought about what Jorginho told her that day. This creature is called the trouble generator. It's nothing more than a mischievous spirit that lives in that classroom, or it can show up in others too, creating trouble and intrigue. To see people fighting and getting into brawls, that's what feeds it and makes it enjoy other people's misfortune. Once it's in the place, only level 5 exorcisms can make it disappear forever, so be careful. If there are a lot of fights in your classroom, it could be that Treta Generator is haunting the place. Yo-Yo was a child like any other, one of those people who are avoided in places. Many thought she was strange because she was shy, that she was boring and uninteresting. Yo-Yo was very sad because this always happened to her. After a while, she stopped trying to interact with people and stayed locked up all day. In her room, her parents were very busy working, and they didn't realize that their daughter was having problems. She started drawing to pass the time. She drew on all the walls. As the days went by, Yo-Yo started to go crazy. She lost control over her emotions and it was becoming difficult for herself. Her mind was a whirlwind of sadness and anger. She hated the world and her life. One day she heard laughter coming from outside her house. She looked out to the street and saw the children playing and having fun. As a last attempt to interact, she tried to go there to play too. However, she was rejected by the group. Let me tell you something, you're really weird. We don't want to play with you, girl. You look like you just came from a funeral. Look at your face. Strange. What a freak, Leave, you're crazy. That was the last straw for Yo-Yo. Something in her mind snapped. She was angry, very angry. So she started drawing the face of a yellow bear. She used it as a face mask and stormed out of her house, roaring like a bear. She wanted to scare them at first. They didn't pay any attention to the girl, you know. But soon Yo-Yo pulled out a knife and ran toward the children, slashing at them. She was no longer human. Her bare face became permanent, and she tucked her hands inside her dress. After that, she was nicknamed Cartoon Girl by the media because of her cartoon-like appearance. After that event, no one was able to find her. Her parents gave a statement to the police who came to the scene. And they said they didn't know why their daughter would have done that, and that she didn't have any problems anywhere, that she was a happy child. But lately, they had been a bit absent because they had a lot of work to do. Yo-Yo feels that he has the right to be happy at any cost, and for that, he tries to forcefully take joy from others with his sharp blades, right? If she sees children accompanied by their parents, Yo-Yo will lure the kid away, showing them candy and taking them away from the adult. So that's it. Imagine you have a huge mane and you need to freshen up your look. Get a haircut and look great. So you go to the barber, but you end up facing a really weird situation. It happened in the countryside of Pernambuco. A young man about 25 years old. He was wearing messy clothes and needed to get a proper haircut. So he went to the barber shop closest to his house, where he always got his hair cut. He noticed the place was empty, and the barber was new. Hey, where's the barber, Chrison? Is that crazy guy off today? He sold me the barber shop and went on an indefinite vacation. He said he was tired of this life. Now I'm the new owner of this place. Wow, I didn't even know. He seemed so happy working here. I liked him. He was a good guy. But alright, I want you to fix up my look and my beard, please. It's been about 4 months since my last cut, man. It's pretty wild here, right? It's the same price, right? Don't worry, the price is just a kidney. Ah, come on, man. Are you crazy? You really are a joker, huh? So the new barber started cutting the young man's hair. In less than a minute, he was already done with the hair and the beard, and it looked perfect. The young man liked the service even more than the last time he was there. Hey man, this looks amazing, bro. What is this, man? Awesome. And you are really fast. You're a real professional, huh? Top notch. Wow. How much for the service? I already told you, a kidney. Haha, seriously, it's $20, right? Same as crochet?
If it's 30, that's messed up.
I've already told you what the price is.
And I don't accept money, only kidneys.
Wow. More cases were being reported about a barber who was stealing people's kidneys as a form of payment. And to this day, the authorities haven't been able to find out who the person committing these crimes is or why he's doing this to his clients. It's suspected that he sells the organs on the black market and makes millions from this bizarre practice. Other people believe that he is actually a creature that feeds only on human kidneys and that he took on the barber profession to more easily get his victims, since people let their guard down and sit with their backs turned, right? What we can do to protect ourselves is to be more careful when seeking the services of this professional and make sure that he is trustworthy. A very strange case started to gain relevance in major urban centers. Several incidents were reported by people who were at home, relaxed, and when they went to use the toilet, they ended up having an unexpected surprise. While they were relieving themselves, they felt the toilet change. Its texture started to turn into something different. They felt something prick their backside, and when they looked at it, they saw that the toilet had a life of its own. The seat had grown teeth, and what was once a normal toilet was now a bizarre creature ready to eat the person. Approximately 90% of the people who were surprised by this creature suffered some kind of injury, deep cuts, or even amputation of limbs. The case that drew the most attention was that of an elderly man known as Mr. Severino.
I was going to the bathroom to take a dump when out of nowhere the toilet grew teeth. I lost my leg to that thing. It was horrible. This is absurd. I pay my rent on time just to be a victim inside my own home. I need to be compensated for what happened to me. Damn it, another case.
It was about the young man Vinderson. He was at a bar with his friends having some drinks, right? When he suddenly noticed that his bladder was full, he needed to use the restroom at the place. While he was relieving himself, he was quickly surprised by the creature. His member was cut off. But what creature is this?
How does it appear in people's bathrooms?
Called Privada Eater, it's a shape-shifting creature that takes the form of a toilet to attack people. It mainly feeds on human flesh. If it fails in its attacks, it consumes the waste left there. They live entirely in the sewers of big cities and use these pipes as a way to access people's homes. Anywhere with a toilet is likely to become a feeding spot for this creature. So be careful when you use your bathroom. This creature might be waiting for you to feed again.